All right, MMA Maniacs, it's time once again for your weekly MMA podcast. It is Split Decision. Bueller and Dodge from the Rudloff Family Inc. studios, of course, giving you the skinny on all the fight news as well as recapping last week's fights. Checking out the fights going on this weekend. And, big thanks to our sponsors, AmericanaMMA.org. Go check them out for all of your MMA apparel needs, shirts, shorts, whatever. They have it all. They have a discount code if you do SDMMA.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
They got it all there, and they'll hook you up for a cheaper price if you put in that code. And also, thememorytag.com. It's a new greeting card that came out. Some of the fighters are invested in it. Definitely worth checking out. If it's just a regular greeting card, if it's not a memory tag greeting card, it's just lame.
Christmas is coming up. You got to get cards.
You can record a video for Grandma, and then she can scan it with their smartphone.
You really think Grandma's got a smartphone?
Grandma's got a smartphone. She don't know how to use it. Papa dials me all the time.
What about a tablet? Can you scan it? Can you scan it with your tablet?
Yeah, my grandmother does have a tablet.
Does have a tablet.
She looks up porn on it.
What kind of porn does a granny look at?
Granny porn.
Granny
Granny
porn.
Regular porn?
Is there such a thing anymore? Just regular porn?
Everything to me is regular porn at this point. So thememorytag.com is where you can check them out at. And you can get us on Spreaker, Stitcher, SoundCloud. Of course, iTunes is where you can subscribe. SplitDecisionMMA.com is our official website. Facebook is Split Decision MMA Podcast. And on Instagram and Twitter, it is SD_MMA. With all that said, let's roll through it. Looks like we got a Kickboxer remake in the works, huh?
Yeah, we've been talking about this for a while. GSP's going to be in it. Remember Dave Bautista's going to be Tong Po? That's scary
right.
fucking Tong Po.
The guy who's throwing knees at the big cinder block thing or whatever.
Breaking it down.
Yeah.
So come to find out, GSP will not be the titular character. He will not be the title character. He will not be Jean-Claude Van Damme's character.
Frank Duke.
He's just, no, that's a different movie. That's Bloodsport.
Oh, is
sir.
it Bloodsport?
That's
Sorry.
Bloodsport. But he's still going to be in it, and now it looks like Gina Carano will also be in this movie.
Is she going to be the Kickboxer?
I know.
She's going to be an ice cream eater in the background.
Her devastating two-fist ice cream style.
Gina Carano's character is going to play the fight promoter.
Okay. It seems kind of lame to waste her talent on that, but whatever.
Her talent, is that what we're saying?
Well, I mean, she's a
In
fighter.
quotes.
She did great in Fast and the Furious. I don't know how they did that tumble down the stairs. I thought someone was going to die for sure.
I don't think you really gauge actors by, like, Fast and the Furious.
Paul Walker was a great man.
I'm just saying. You know, Expendables.
That's not what I mean. What I mean is her action ability. Her action ability on screen.
She was
has
great
it.
in Haywire.
I never saw that, but she has good action ability on screen. So why put her as a fight promoter and not an actual fighter?
Maybe she'll have one fight scene in there.
Maybe somebody try to fight the promoter.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
All right.
Just
For
keep
some
it
ice cream.
Gonna take on a box of Ben and Jerry's.
Chris Levin's doing some big things. He is now going to be a co-host of ESPN's new radio show, MMA Unfiltered.
Why didn't we get this job?
Because we're not Chris Levin.
Everybody's hating on us, but copying our style.
This is some bullshit right there, man. ESPN decides they want to put out a MMA radio show.
Yeah.
And they don't call us.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
They
to
call
me.
Chris Levin.
Yeah, that whole ring experience thing.
Yeah, well, fine. We got that whole broadcast experience thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's like, whatever.
Well, they're also using fighter Bruno Machado, who I've never heard of,
It's a cool name, though.
and Laurie Miller, who I've never heard of.
See, that's it. We don't have Laurie Miller.
That's the problem.
We need to start showing
You
more
need to go
pictures
away.
of
We need a
Josh.
chick.
I'm sorry. Hey, I'll get some thigh highs and walk in here, or maybe
Take
a
that chin
shirt.
strap beard off, put it on the back of your head like long hair, and
There we go.
call it a day.
Yeah.
Done.
Please shave first.
Gegard Mousasi recently went to Twitter to call out the Fear the Fighter brand. It was the same brand. I know you remember recently Cub Swanson was wearing the Fear the Fighter shirt.
Oh, okay.
He's calling out saying they basically haven't paid him. This isn't the first time that a fighter has called out the brand.
Knockout artist.
John Dodson, Tim Elliott, a lot of guys out there are complaining that their sponsors are not paying them basically the money that they promised them.
That sucks. When you make a deal with somebody and that motherfucker doesn't pay you,
Right?
that sucks.
Especially when you give them ideas
And then
and they turn around and sell them.
Right.
I guess it's a good thing they had that Reebok deal coming through then.
Right? So now this won't happen again. We need a Reebok deal.
We need a Reebok deal. But see, now they can't call out sponsors for non-payment because Reebok's obviously going to pay.
You would think.
You would think so, yes.
We haven't seen the details yet. So
Well, it's a $60 million fund, right?
yeah.
So, I mean,
Is that what the number is? $60 million?
I thought.
That's
right?
what I was reading somewhere. Again, I haven't seen exact numbers and exactly what the breakdown is yet, but
For some reason, that just doesn't sound like a lot for me. Is that like a year deal? It just doesn't seem like very much.
Well, especially now we're looking at what, maybe 52 fights. There's a fight a week, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
So 52 fights. Oh, and it's a 3-year
There's
deal.
usually 12 fights to a card, and that's 24 fighters on a card.
This does not seem like enough money.
It doesn't.
Wow.
We'll have to see what the actual details are when I get a hold of them.
Well, after the year's done, we find out who gets paid out what, then we'll know what's going
I
on.
wonder how many fighters get released before July.
It's just, I wonder how many.
Think
I
about
didn't
it.
think of that.
All the fight because it doesn't start till July. How many fighters get released before July? It's like you got no Reebok money. This guy's like, damn it!
I wonder how many fighters are going to owe Reebok money. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Like, they're so low on the tier where they got to actually buy
Like,
their
your
own
fight
gear.
sucked. We don't want you wearing our stuff.
You're going to have people like Rousey, I got my Reebok, and you don't got none.
It's going to be like the old days when you go to work and they give you $3 a day, but you had to pay for your own shovel. You know? It's like, you're
Which
getting
is
Reebok
$2.50?
money. Yeah, exactly. You're
Yeah.
getting Reebok money, but you got to buy your own shit because
Yeah.
you're the lowest man on the totem pole.
Yeah, you owe it to the company store after that.
Speaking of Rousey, she is going to pen her own book. It's going to be called My Fight / Your Fight. Her and her sister are going to be writing a book. It's going to cover her life, her upbringing, and being raised as a judo prodigy and making it to the Olympics where she won her bronze medal, including her entry into the MMA.
Nice.
So we'll have to see how that does on the bestseller list. You guys think any predictions?
I'll tell you right now.
Yeah,
the-
I predict
sell?
no more wire hangers. That's in there somewhere.
Wow. Mother dearest. I think the thing with these, I mean, maybe Ronda Rousey's going to be a little bit different because she's very publicly known now. But it seems like all the fighters who've done books in the past, it's like people read them, but they're not huge. Like the better fight books that I've read have been by guys who are fans of the sport, like Sam Sheridan or Eugene Robinson. Done some amazing books on MMA. But then I look at like Randy Couture's book or
How is it that the WWE stars, their books go like, I mean, Mick Foley's went to #1 bestseller for like weeks and months on it.
you think anybody actually read it?
Just people bought it?
Just to have it?
Bunch of redneck Southern
Every book he's
WWE
done, he's done
fans.
3 books. They were on the #1 bestseller list.
Because what do you get drunk Uncle Ted that watches WWE?
Hey, look how many collectible toys are bought and never played with.
True.
I swear to God, those books get bought by nephews. Like, oh, Uncle Ted likes wrestling. I'm good. Uncle Ted just puts his beer on it. It's a coaster.
Was it Forrest Griffin's book did pretty well, right?
Yeah, both of his books did really well.
Did them?
Yeah.
I just don't. Have any of them gone like #1 though?
I'm not 100% sure on that.
To look that up, but I can see Ronda Rousey's doing really well just because she's a very popular name, very common name. She's basically a household name, and she's champion too. And she's you got fighters who are going to want to read it. You got the women power is going to want to read it.
Yeah,
You know
it's
what
a
I mean?
feel good story for women.
Yeah, exactly.
My mom choked me out, and I'm a winner.
That's not what happens.
That's not what happened to me. My mom choked me out. I got brain damage, and she hit me with a fly
That's
swatter.
not the reason. It was before that.
You're right. I was when I got dropped on my head 3 times.
Further weird news coming out of the whole Milwaukee kickboxing scene. This time now, same reporter who did the story last time on... now I feel really bad. I remember the guy's name. The guy who recently just passed away from the Duke Rufus.
From the Duke Rufus camp? Okay.
Dennis, God, what was his name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, dude.
Now another thing has come out saying that there is a guy who has mental disabilities who was put into an MMA and kickboxing match, knocked out in 47 seconds. And the guy who put him in the match was also the promoter of the show.
Was it the same guy who promoted the show where this other guy passed away?
No.
Okay.
But they're saying that he is that Jesse Roach is a guy who has like I said, he has mental
Any relation to Freddie?
illness. Who, when later questioned, said he doesn't even know what a waiver is. Family members say he has about a middle school to school age intellectual level. He signed a piece of paper, but he didn't. He had to have somebody explain it to him, and still doesn't know what it is. He thought he was just signing a sign-up sheet.
I don't understand how
And
this...
he was been taken advantage of. That he basically he started following MMA, watching it on TV, fell in love with it. A guy who trains at another gym would come to his house and teach him a little bit of things to kind of boost his confidence and make him feel
Right.
good and all that sort of thing. And then this other guy who knows him signed him up and got him to come basically be a kickboxing dummy
And this was in Milwaukee?
in Milwaukee again, where kickboxing is unregulated.
Oh, I see. Okay, so this isn't like Florida where they were going to have the Down syndrome and the CP kid fight each other.
And they had a athletic commission step in. This is something that's unregulated. So it's just
so there was nobody overseeing it. So
nobody is overseeing it. So
sketch.
it seems super crazy how these things are going on. The other guy says, I didn't know he had mental issues. I just knew him as a friend. I knew he was kind of a beginner, and I just,
What kind of a friend are you? You don't know your friend has mental issues.
I gave him a ride to the show, and that's it. And then I fought him and knocked him out in 47 seconds. And I put, the picture of the knockout as my Facebook profile for about 2-3 weeks before everyone started coming at me and being like, hey, this guy's got mental issues.
How did the family not step in on this?
Family didn't know he was going to fight.
That's hella sketchy.
And my only thing is, Garrett just recently fought, and he has his own disorders. And again, if Garrett would have got knocked out or beat up, I'm sure there's a lot of people that would have jumped on the other end of that. Like, how do you beat up a handicapped person? Mm-hmm. But then again, Garrett's been pushing to be a fighter, so.
Well, all we know is what's coming out of the news story, and if this kid really didn't know what he was doing, it seems super sketchy to me, especially if the family didn't know he was fighting.
It seems really
because if
really
you're going to fight, you're going to tell everybody. People are going to know you're going to fight. It sounds to me like the promoter just kidnapped him and threw him in the ring.
Yeah,
but still, okay. Now, like even our small Tachi Palace stuff. Think how many people check a guy. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
He said he didn't get checked by a doctor. He said the guy who was his friend gave him a cup and gave him gloves. And said, first told him, it's going to be a wrestling match, and then later told him, no, it's going to be a kickboxing match.
So this happened like in a parking garage?
No, technically it was at a Harley-Davidson dealership.
Wow.
See, so really,
they should do market shit differently.
So it wasn't even sanctioned then. So it sounds like it was
completely unregulated.
It was an exhibition
it
fight.
It was completely unregulated, but still, it's just crazy to me that things like this are still happening, where you have the unregulated fights and you have state athletic commissions.
Right.
Why is it the state athletic commission where they can do MMA in Milwaukee? They can do it in that state. Why are they not regulating boxing? Why are they not regulating kickboxing? Why are they just we only do MMA or we only do boxing?
I'm sure you still have pit fights here and stuff too, though. Even though cage fighting's regulated.
Yeah, what are they supposed to show up and stop the fight?
We heard there was a fight going on
right.
here.
Yeah,
heard there were some ruffians about.
Well, you got to get Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum to go like 24 Jump Street on it and infiltrate.
I think it was like 29 Jump Street or 30 Jump Street when they were showing at the very end of the movie all the different Jump Street versions they're going to be doing.
I know 23 Jump Street is going to be them going to the Men in Black Academy.
I thought it was medical school.
No, it's officially Men in Black. Official. It's a crossover. Hollywood's fucking stupid.
Awesome. Midnight movie. Let's watch it.
Yeah. But overall, I think this was horrible. And it was Dennis Munson Jr. who died in
there you go.
the Rufus fight.
Frank Yeager recently did an interview with MMA Weekly talking about the whole Conor McGregor issue. He says he thinks Conor McGregor will be getting the title shot ahead of him, and he understands that it's for the money and not for the right reasons. He would love to fight Conor McGregor, but he knows that the UFC will probably not allow that to happen.
Well, that's kind of what we've been saying.
But now Frank Yeager's finally admitting it.
But there's a good chance he is going to fight McGregor.
I don't think they'll let that happen. I think they'll either give Conor McGregor, Jose Aldo, sell the ticket, make the money, or they'll give Frankie Edgar, the rightful guy.
No, but so you don't think McGregor's going to beat Aldo?
No.
What he's saying is if
Conor McGregor defeats Aldo and then fights Frankie,
right.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I don't know if I like Conor McGregor. I like his style. I bought into some of the hype. I think he's doing very well. I don't think he would do good against Frankie Edgar, and I don't think he'd do good against Jose Aldo.
I mean, you got to think the guy's riding 4 fights. He's got a huge hype chain behind him, but he's riding 4 fights. And he hasn't gone up against somebody the caliber of Edgar, Aldo, or those guys yet. So, who knows? The money's there, though. I mean, it's almost like Dodge says, though. It's like, Jesus, you're almost feeding this kid to the wolves because everybody's believing his own hype. He's got 4 fights in the UFC. But we'll see.
So we had UFC 181 was over the weekend. Did you get a chance to watch it, catch up?
I just checked out the GIFs online and stuff.
You guys get a chance to watch it?
Yeah.
So one of the big things that we had is Brendan Schaub lost his fight.
Yeah.
Decisively?
Yeah, badly.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was stopped in the first round with 10 seconds to go. Mm-hmm. So, and we'll get into the full breakdown in a little bit here. But right after that, the day after, he has his own podcast called The Fighter and the Kid. It's on Fox Sports. It's with Brian Cullen, which is a comedian. They are both really good friends with Joe Rogan. Brian Cullen's been doing comedy with Joe Rogan for a long time. In fact, they were signed to the same, record label. They were part of what they call the Comedy Death Squad, which was this team up that they do. Where they go do a bunch of shows together, touring act together. And now, like I said, Brian Cullen and Brendan Schaub have their own podcast called Fighter and the Kid, and it's a mixture of comedy. And they talk about MMA, and they talk about everything.
Kind of like what we try to do.
Kind of. Except they have a fighter and a comedian.
We just have shitty jokes and mixed martial arts news.
Yeah, there you go. So they had Joe Rogan come on the day after the fight, and one of the biggest topics they wanted to talk about was Brendan Schaub's loss.
Right.
And Joe Rogan said, "Are you sure? Do you really want my opinion?
Right.
Because they're friends." He says, "I am friends with you." He's like, "But I don't think you should fight again."
Yeah, time to hang it up.
And he's like, "And I just don't want to, we don't have to do this." Well, their podcast is live. And they said, yes, let's just do it anyway. So they put it out there. If you were listening to it live streaming, you got to hear basically Joe Rogan break down Brendan Schaub. Yeah. Brendan Schaub was almost silent I would say 80% of the time. He did have some things to say back.
It was brutal honesty.
It was really, really brutal honesty. He basically told him, you are not an elite level fighter.
He gave him an intervention.
You will never be an elite level fighter.
Yeah.
You will never be an elite level fighter. You will not beat Cain Velasquez. You will not beat Junior Dos Santos. There is a bridge between those guys and you.
Literally said there's a bridge.
Yeah, he's like, and I don't think you can get over it. He's like, and you have concussions because of your NFL career, and you obviously know you have concussions from your MMA career being knocked out 3 times. It's not that you're not dedicated. It's not that you're not disciplined. It's not that you're not intelligent. There's just shit that other people can do that you cannot do and never will be able to do.
Right.
And basically just told him, I think you need to retire. You should not fight anymore. You fought number 3 Travis Brown, and he just demolished you. You should not fight anymore. Told him that, he thinks he's a really smart guy. He obviously makes a lot of money with the podcast. And Brendan Schaub has even come out. He had a podcast today, which I listened to. He said he makes as much money doing his podcast as he does fighting.
Really?
Yeah.
Then he should definitely do that.
We really need to get with this.
They're signed by Fox.
Right?
Fox Sports, and obviously have multiple sponsors.
Look, we're for sale, people. If there's anybody listening from CBS, ABC, NBC, ESPN.
I don't care. KWEZ.
ESPN, the Ocho.
Yeah. Home Shopping Network.
Donde está, man.
I'm all over it.
So they and he basically just told me, he's like, I don't think you should fight. And Brendan Schaub said he went home for 30 minutes cried. That he has to really think about his career. He believes he should be able to fight at least 4 or 5 more times, and then he'll retire.
No, I like the idea when he said he thought about dropping weight,
and he's thought about dropping weight.
Now, if that happens, if he goes to 205, I feel like okay, give him another shot.
Yeah,
maybe we'll see what he can do at 205. But heavyweight's done, man. The door's closed.
Have you seen 205 lately?
Yeah, 205 division.
It's not going to do him any good.
But I mean, maybe I'm saying maybe it'll make him a little more sturdy. At 205.
The punches are just going to come faster at 205.
But not heavier.
So what?
Maybe he can take a punch from a 205er, just not a 235er.
I mean, how do you feel about... I mean, Joe Rogan said, look, I'm only doing this because I'm your friend. I would never say this to any other fighters. I'm saying this to you because I personally know you. I'm a personally good friend of yours, and I think you have a bright future doing something else besides MMA. Don't take any more unnecessary brain damage.
Yeah. And he also said he's learning more and more about fight trauma and head trauma that the fighters are suffering now later on down the line.
Yep.
And he's looking out for his buddy here. It's just brutal honesty. This is a talk that should have happened in private, and I can't fault Joe because Joe's an honest guy.
Yep.
He's a smart guy. I hate to fault Schaub for pushing the issue and want to talk about it openly. I mean, it was a bad situation. Hopefully it doesn't ruin their friendship. But, I mean, Joe, he's right. He wasn't wrong.
Yeah, do you think he's right? Do you feel? I mean, and he was saying, I'm hoping. Joe Rogan said, I'm hoping people hear this podcast, other fighters hear this podcast, and realize maybe I need to start thinking about my future.
Yeah,
maybe I need to start thinking about me hanging it up.
Well, St. Pierre was losing large portions of time.
Lieben, who after that fight, did I get knocked out? I'm done. And not only was he saying I'm done with the fight, he straight out, I'm done. He's like, when I realized that I got knocked out and didn't realize I got knocked out in the middle of a fight, he walked away from the sport.
Right.
Because it's been happening to him on a regular basis.
Right. Yeah, and it's a scary thought. If I take anything out of this, and I respect Joe Rogan just because he was able to do this in a public forum, and he didn't pull any punches, and he got everything out there. I mean, it'd be super difficult to hear, but it'd be even more difficult to say that to somebody in such a public forum. And it's crazy. It was a crazy conversation they had, but he's right.
Yeah, and of course, Brendan Schaub said he will 100% fight again.
Yeah,
he's not going to hang him up right away. He still feels he has 4 to 5 fights left in him.
And again, look at George St. Pierre said the same thing, and he's talking about coming back. So
the next fight might be the one that knocks his ability to tie his shoelaces out.
Yeah, because we've already heard multiple stories about people talking to Iceman. I guess it's pretty bad.
Is that right?
Yeah.
It's like
All
talking
right.
to me on a drunk night. Or the morning after a drunk night. Hey, you remember? Nope. But do you remember when? Nope.
Nope. So Friday we were talking about Invicta happened. We were talking the last podcast as we happened that night. Big changes in the Invicta atomweight title. I don't know how to explain this. What I'm trying to say here. Atomweight title picture. Basically, Michelle Watterson lost her title.
Yeah, there you go.
That'd be
That's
the,
how you say it.
that's the easiest way.
Michelle was trying to get all poetic and try to sound more.
The karate hottie,
intelligent
the
than I
karate
actually
hottie
am.
lost.
Yes, karate hottie Michelle Watterson lost guillotine round 3 at a minute 4 to Horacia Tabricio. So we have a new champion.
Cool. Is she going to come to the UFC?
That's atomweight, so no.
What's that, 105?
Yes.
Oh, shit.
That's 2 weight classes below the new one they just created.
It'll be here.
You think so?
It'll probably be the next tough.
You think so? They're just going to take all the atom weights from Invicta again and leave them with nothing?
Another champion will be crowned.
No, they're gonna do guys 115 or something.
Oh, are they?
I don't
Ghost
think
weight.
so.
Yeah,
Ghost
they're gonna do ghost weight.
Shadow weight. We don't weigh you. We weigh your shadow.
The lighter the fighters get, the more likely they're
Scary
gonna
it
die.
gets,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's not.
They should play mosquito sounds when these two guys go at it.
So we had UFC 181, the big pay-per-view that is their technically Christmas pay-per-view because it's the last pay-per-view of the year. You like that? We had on your undercard, starting on Fight Pass, Clay Collard over Alex White, Sergio Pettis over Matt Hobar,
Yeah.
Raquel Pennington over Ashley Smith. Did you guys get to see this on Fox Sports 1?
Saw the GIF.
She got cut open really bad right in the center of her forehead.
Was she the one that was?
And then turned around and just caught her with that bulldog choke, which
Yeah.
I haven't...
As she bled all over her.
As she bled all over again. I think this is like only the 3rd or 4th actual bulldog choke in the UFC that I've seen finished.
Were there 2 bulldog chokes that night?
And there was 2 that night. We'll get to the next one, but I think this is only the 3rd one that I've seen, and she locked it up quick.
Yeah, I saw the
pulled
GIF.
her
It was pretty
down,
awesome.
choked her out, and the end of the round happened. The buzzer went off, and she got up,
And she-
and the other girl was
Face
still
planted.
not moving or breathing.
She put her down real nice.
Yeah, she settled her down in there and held.
It's
and
like
then,
putting your kid to bed.
You know, the ref comes over, breaks them up. She walks away. She turns around. And the other girl's not moving. So that's when they called the fight.
That's probably a good idea.
Uh,
Well, technically, at the bell, though, don't you have 60 seconds to recover?
she was not recovering.
Not after. not after.
If
Especially.
nobody would have touched her for 60 seconds, she still would have been there. Corey Anderson over Justin Jones. Josh Salmon with a monster head kick.
What'd I tell you about them salmon swimming upstream?
Oh, he shorted the guy out, huh?
Oh, it was brutal. He kept hitting him all night with the low kicks, and then finally when he thought he was going low again, he takes out Eddie Gordon just with a beautiful, beautiful head kick.
Those are the knockouts that are hard to watch, and the guys are still shorting out afterwards.
Yeah, you can see their breathing be all
Yeah, it's like someone's got a
truncated.
taser on them.
Don't you hate when you pick the wrong block?
I just stay on my block.
Just, yeah, it was a beautiful, beautiful head kick.
And Eddie Gordon retired.
Josh Salmon making his triumphant return. Has not fought since last year.
Good for him.
And then we had Uriah Faber over Francisco Rivera with the
Francisco
Bulldog.
Rivera.
However, not without controversy. He caught him with a pretty bad eye poke. Now, Faber says 100% he didn't know he eye poked him. He didn't do it maliciously. Even Francisco Rivera says he doesn't think that Faber did it on purpose, that it was just accidental and happened. But it happened so quick. He hit him with a jab, hit him again with eye poke. Francisco Rivera started backing up, and it looked like it was because of a punch. Backed into the cage, grabbing his face, his eye.
As he's being choked.
As he starts to kind of lean against the cage, Uriah Faber runs over and Bulldog chokes him. As the whole time he's screaming, "My eye! My eye!"
So what's the meme this week? Oh, is that it? What is that? Let me do your eye a favor.
Yeah.
I watched the GIF that didn't have sound, so I didn't realize.
They are both, first, obviously, Francisco Rivera asked for this. He wants a rematch. He thought he was doing pretty well up until that point, and obviously it was of a foul. It wasn't anything that was deliberate, but it was because of a foul. He was choked. Uriah Faber says he has no problem taking the fight. In fact, he welcomes the fight again if that's what he thinks needs to happen.
So Uriah Faber's admitting to the choke or to the poke?
He says he didn't know he poked him. But he's
You can
saying
see it?
he in the slow mo. He says he saw it.
You can't.
You
deny it.
can't deny it.
It's it's the second knuckle.
It's second knuckle inside his eye. Yeah.
You're a chick like that.
Hey,
So,
and everybody in the room that I was in, we've all determined that if they put his next title shot on Fight Pass, he'll win.
oh, that would be amazing. Uriah Faber gets title shot on Fight Pass.
I'd buy it.
And then you had Tony Ferguson over Abel Trujillo. Second round, 4 minutes, 19 seconds in.
God, Trujillo looked good at the beginning. Like he
At
was
the beginning?
Yeah.
And then he just Tony
It
Ferguson
was
just,
that last 19 seconds.
just turned it on, man, and just
Sort of.
rushed it.
Well, and then he stole his TV and put his house down.
Todd Duffy coming back to the UFC. 33-second knockout over Anthony Hamilton in the first round. Looking like a beast. Looking like for his debut when he came to the UFC the first time. It was great. I'm interested to see where Todd Duffy goes from here in the heavyweight division. Travis Brown, again, like we just talked about, over Brandon Schaub. TKO punches. He caught him with an uppercut, dropped him, immediately went into mount, and he got into mount 3 different times and took his back 3 different times.
This is such a good card. I'm so pissed I missed it.
And was able to, basically, Brandon Schaub was flattened out, covering his head and just getting wailed on.
Yeah.
And he says he was yelling the entire time, "Don't stop the fight, don't stop the fight, I'm okay." And he says, I talked to Mario Yamasaki in the back, and he said if as long as I tell him I'm okay, he wouldn't stop the fight. But at that point, you really needed to stop the fight. I mean, he gave again, and he says he came to when he was mounted and getting punched in the face from the uppercut. So
Yeah, because he worked into that position, 3 times, right?
times.
Doing the same exact thing.
yeah, he'd roll him over and he'd try to go belly out, and then he'd just get pounded on. So he'd roll back, try to get something. He would get immediately back in a mount, roll him over, go belly out, pound him in the back. So
And Yamasaki told him, I think in the second, maybe even the first time he got, he's like, you got to work.
you have to do something.
Do something. You have to
Yeah,
work.
You have to defend yourself.
Hey, big prospect coming out of the Ultimate Fighter gets knocked out by Nelson, and he's just not with good sense. That first knockout he took, because he was 4-0 when he went on to the Ultimate Fighter, got to the finals in the Ultimate Fighter, and I think he knocked out both of his opponents, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Or subbed one and knocked one out.
Yep.
And then he gets into the cage for the first time, gets KO'd by Nelson, which nobody saw coming, and he's just. I mean, I hate to say it, but he just hasn't been up to par since then.
Anthony Pettis retains his belt in the second round, being the first guy ever to stop Gilbert Melendez with a guillotine choke, and man, was it fucking fast.
Once he
saw the neck, it was done.
Not to take away that he wasn't beating the shit out of him anyway.
He was doing pretty good, but Gilbert, it looked like, was going for a takedown.
Yeah.
And Anthony was able to back up and see the neck and just immediately it was just right in the transition. He saw it and grabbed it. I think it even shocked Gil. Didn't even see it coming. And that's the thing is, he talked about before, the only way to catch Gilbert Melendez is in the transition. And he just happened to catch him with his head kind of down, his neck out, grabbed the guillotine, and just dropped it in.
Got a top mount guillotine on him.
Yeah, ended up rolling it into a top mount.
That's what killed it.
Yeah, ended up rolling it into a top mount.
If they would have stayed in the initial position, then I think Gil would have worked for a while. But getting that top mount guillotine is just
he had nowhere to go.
Well, because you also get a bit of a neck crank when that happens.
Yeah,
it sucks.
And then your main events went all 5 rounds. Robbie Lawler becomes the new welterweight UFC champion, defeating Johnny Hendricks with a split decision.
Can I just say, this week when I logged on to Sherdog and I was looking at the fight cards that were coming up, and I also wanted to see who won everything, and I was like, oh, check out some gifts, and I was like, what fucking year is it that Joe Riggs is back in the UFC and Robbie Lawler has the belt?
Is the champion?
Yes, and Nick Diaz fights in next month. I'm like, what? Huh? Is it 10 years ago?
Oh yeah,
it's crazy. I can't believe. Riggs
I like
is
that
back
Robbie
too.
Lawler has the belt. I mean, this is the old guard getting a second wind here, and he's the only guy that's from that era that has the belt right now.
It's a controversial win though for him, that's for sure.
I don't know if it necessarily was. And reading the interviews later with Robbie Lawler, with Johnny Hendricks flat out says, "I lost the championship rounds." Yeah. That's 2 rounds minimum that he lost. He says, "I lost the championship rounds." Now, first round, all Robbie. I mean, all the judges saw it, all Robbie. Everybody saw it. Robbie came out to kill. Said he did not want to do a hand tap. He basically just dead-eyed him. And Johnny Hendricks was like, "You want to touch gloves? You want to go? You, me? No. Oh, okay." Just put his hand down. Robbie just dead-eyed him. Just glaring, not even looking at him, not even acknowledging him. They went out. Robbie went out for the kill in the first round. And everyone was worried, including Joe Rogan doing the commentary, he was going to gas himself out because he was just going nonstop. Second round, it kind of looked like that. Second round was really, really close. Johnny Hendricks started landing his takedowns. Third round was definitely all Johnny Hendricks, takedown after takedown, just rinse and repeat. But multiple times in the third and then later in the fourth, and especially in the 5th round, the referee had to tell him, "You need to work," because he would grab his legs and just sit there.
Did you notice who told the referee to do that?
Who?
Lorenzo. Lorenzo has been extremely more active since this. I don't know if it's the Reebok deal or what, but he looked up at him, and I mean, when the first couple times that they locked up on the side, Lorenzo told him like, "This ain't happening. You take care of this," and he stood him up.
I don't know about that. I'd have to watch that part
Watch
again.
it again.
I've watched the fight 3 times now. I didn't see any of that. But I did see that Johnny Hendricks is trying to, exactly what I said, be GSP and just constantly take a guy down and think, but Johnny Hendricks isn't GSP.
No.
Instead, he gets the double and he's like, I got him! Just going to hang out here for a little while.
GSP works when he gets
Works,
somebody
yeah.
down.
And that's Johnny Hendricks. And Matt Hughes, he is Robbie Lawler's training partner and longtime friend. He came out and said, that he thinks Johnny Hendricks lost because he tried to be GSP, flat out. I mean, he says it. You can't grab a guy and hold onto his legs and not work.
No, that's stupid.
And Johnny Hendricks,
well be laying
has to admit that he lost that fight because of that. I mean, flat out. I mean, he said he lost championship rounds. He kept trying to get him to take him down. He couldn't do it.
Yeah, it's just funny that he knew that this is for the championship, and then he just went over and laid and prayed. And you say,
hands down.
He didn't. There was no work being involved, and he would just get there and get locked up.
Yeah. He basically just sat and like I said, held him. And you can't win a fight like that. And multiple times the referee had to tell him to stop. We'll definitely have to see where it goes from here.
We all just got our man cards back. I'll tell you something. I'm going to cut myself with this one, Kevin.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have taken the sharp one.
It needs to get grinded down a little bit.
No, just the sharp part right here that takes off the
Oh,
bottle
yeah,
cap.
you're going to die.
I'm going to stab myself with
You guys
that.
are product testers, so tell me what you need to change.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, Kevin.
Next time you see me, I'm going to have Band-Aids on my fingers.
You'll be a man.
This is true. I'll be a man, he said. It'll toughen up my hands.
Be a man. So, I mean, where does Johnny Hendricks go from here?
They're going to do the trilogy.
You think he'll do the trilogy? Even Robbie Lawler says we need to do a trilogy.
Yeah,
we each have
that's
one.
fine.
He's like, I have no problem doing the trilogy. I still think Robbie Lawler can take it. I thought he took the first fight. I really did. Other than, we talked about the
Other
reason
being stupid in the championship rounds where you said
the fifth round, not the championship, just the fifth. The
Okay.
fifth round specifically, he put his hands down and was just like, "Come on, hit me, go ahead. I don't care. You're not knocking
If
me
he
out."
would have worked that round, then he would have won.
Yeah, he would've won.
Hendricks.
He would've won.
Which is where what I'm saying is Hendricks also had trouble in the championship rounds this time.
Yeah.
So-
but for 2 of them instead of just the
one.
Instead of just the one. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
there.
they'll do a trilogy for sure.
Ultimate Fighter was on Wednesday.
Yeah.
We get to watch that. That was the final. That, again, we didn't get a chance to talk about last week. I think we missed talking about last week. We did have 2 fights to see who was going to go to the semis, and we had 2 more fights to see who was going to the semis. We had a great interview with Rose Namajunas.
Namajunas.
Yeah, Mayunas. You're right.
Namajunas.
And stuff like that.
She was a lot of fun. So it's obviously it was before her fight, so we know what happened, but she's still worth listening to. Look it up.
So now, we saw Carla and Jessica Penne. I think I texted both of you guys while watching this fight. It looked like they both chose the same fighter on Street Fighter with just the opposite colors. Like, they looked exactly the same. Their style was almost the same, although, like I said, Carla was getting to the punch just a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
The wrestling, they would look like it was pretty much the same. It was a really close fight. But, I mean, you had to give it to Carla just being able to get to the punch a little bit quicker. And then Rose over Randa Marcos really
I can't
surprised
believe
me.
this.
It really surprised me, especially the way she won. I thought her kickboxing would be something to stifle Randa, but to see her get that submission and get that Kimura from the bottom and turn it over,
Yeah.
that really surprised me. I
Surprised the hell out of me. I picked Randa Marcos to go all the way.
had to give it to Rose on that.
So in her first fight in the house, she got a majority decision. Second fight, she gets a second round sub, and now she gets a first round sub. She's just getting more and more comfortable. it
Who's
seems.
this?
Oh wait, never mind. I'm
Rose?
sorry.
Rose submitted everybody on.
She did. Never mind. I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong bracket. So she submitted first round, second round, first round.
Yeah.
She's dangerous.
And her kickboxing looks amazing. I mean, her stand-up is pretty vicious, and she uses her range well. I mean, we'll get in as we go to the breakdown, but I think it's going to be an interesting fight. What do you think about the rest? Did you get to watch any of the after fight, the tough talk after the fight?
No, I didn't watch any tough talk.
It was a lot of drama.
Dude, it was like the Real Housewives
Yeah,
of tough.
Yeah, they were arguing back and forth, just nonstop.
Nice.
And I liked Beck Rollins.
I would
sitting
just
there
like
rolling
I would
eyes.
just like to be honest for a minute. How many times did you hear? It's like, so what? The whole episode, bitch, you just been fake for a minute. Can I be honest for a minute?
Just for a minute.
Just for a minute.
This next 60 seconds
Yeah.
is real.
It's honest.
Yeah.
I
And
like.
hey,
Stopwatch clicks. I'm back.
I
to
thought
you.
Beck Rollins was hilarious, rolling her eyes and just like, get me off this fucking set. The entire time, she's like, I don't. And they ask her, well, we see you rolling your eyes. Do you have anything to say? She's like, no, I'm over it. It already happened. Let's fucking fight.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they spent.
Well, she gets to fight the evil nemesis of the whole group.
Yeah.
She gets to fight Cocky McDickfuck.
Yeah, the blender.
That picture was awesome, by the way.
Oh, the meme?
Yeah. Her fighting the blender. Awesome.
Yeah, that was great.
Did it say Cocky McDickfuck, though?
No.
They needed to say
They
Cocky
needed to say Cocky McDickfuck, yeah. At the weigh-in, she did get to flip her off, which she did. She'd been training with the Diaz brothers. I like she walked out. Beck Rawlings walked out, just gave her the middle finger, just like Diaz did to Shamrock. And I was watching the live stream, and all of a sudden, it cuts out.
What is that? Because everybody can see it.
Yeah.
So it has to be.
It has to, so they cut it out. It was like they couldn't blur it because it was live. So they cut it out, and then all of a sudden they come back and it's Dana like pulling her hand down, like just laughing, like God
Why
damn
couldn't
it.
they put like a Mickey hand in place or something? You know.
Later, when they re-showed it, they blurred it out.
Oh.
They did re-show it. She just walked it the whole time, just
They just
middle
don't have the-
finger.
you don't
Or
have
make
the
it look like you're
technology to-
throwing a peace sign.
They don't have the technology to do it live. They just have to put Vaseline on the lens. Oh, fingers out.
So we do have our Ultimate Fighter finale tonight.
Shit.
You got the pre-shows at 2. You got the
So it's going right now.
the prelims start at 4,
Yeah, so that's
right?
like-
And then you got the main card at 6.
by the time you all listen to this, it's going to be halfway over.
Fight's gonna be going on.
Yeah.
But we also have another card to talk about for tomorrow as well.
Yeah.
So we
So
got
we
plenty
might
of
as
time.
well just do the main card. 'cause
So
And you guys don't listen for our predictions. You listen for our funny banter.
exactly.
So Emily Kagan is going up against Angela Hill. Aseling Daly going up against Alex Chambers. Both these fights going on Fight Pass. I'm going to take Hill and Daly in both in their respective fights. Daly did, however, miss weight. She was 3 pounds over.
Which one's Daly?
She is
Obviously,
the
the fat one.
Whoa! She's the Irish
There's no
one.
fat shaming here.
There's the Irish one who trains with
The one who walked in and looked like she was already 10 pounds over anyway.
The one who said she had trouble making weight on the show.
The depression one. I
Yes.
thought, who was the farter then?
That was Angela.
Oh, all
You
right.
really hung up on the gas girl.
The Gas Girl.
thought it was her for
Gas
some
Girl is going to be fighting Emily Kagan. Overweighter Girl is going to be fighting Alex Chambers.
Whatever. All right.
And then we have, of course, Your Majesty Angelina Magna, who's been going fucking crazy on Twitter,
Posting the weird ass pictures.
posting weird ass pictures, calling everybody peasants, calling herself Your Majesty. Posted a picture of Beck Rawlings taking a shit next to her while she was cutting weight. Yeah, that happened.
Awesome.
And basically, she came out today, and they've been asking, like, what is up with your Twitter? Like, you haven't been on Twitter until you started The Ultimate Fighter, and now you're a weirdo. What happened? And she says, honestly, she's like, everyone is talking shit about me. All these other fighters, all these like random once they started showing, putting me on the Ultimate Fighter. So she's like, I just started calling everybody peasants. I'm not going to let them fucking make fun of me. I can do whatever I want. So she's like, I figure if I make myself into a personality and I just start rolling with it, it'll be fun, and I don't care.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. She's creating a character.
And exactly what she said. And she goes straight out. She goes, nobody's going to remember Emily. Nobody's going to remember. What's the other girl's name that's fighting?
Exactly.
Lisa, yeah. Nobody's going to remember Lisa because they don't have personality. She's like, I decided I'm just going to put whatever I want. She's like, now it's fun.
yeah.
So,
You create your own market by doing it.
however, Angela Magna will be going up against Tisa Torres, who is ranked number 3. I think Tisa's definitely going to be taking that fight.
Tisha got 2 chances in the house and blew them both.
But I just don't think Angela's that great. Hot. I don't think she's that great, so I'll be taking Tisa in her
I
fight.
didn't know that her temperature could win a fight for her.
I'm just saying. That's a good tamale
like
right
this
there.
little.
I don't care.
I don't know. I'm not saying that I'm rooting for the other girl, but Tisha Torres, I don't have any faith in her.
Joanne Calderwood is going up against Si-Hee Ham. She is the top South Korean prospect coming over to the UFC because one of the other girls had an injury and could not make it from the show. So we got Hamderley, which is her nickname, which is hilarious. Her nickname is Hamderley. Hamderley, definitely a good kickboxer, decent wrestling. She is a natural atom weight, though. That's a 105, coming up to 115.
She's going to get her ass kicked.
I think JoJo is going to destroy her. JoJo is ranked number 2 going into the show.
Joanne.
Made it all the way to...
She'll make her carrot cake afterwards.
amazing in the clinch. I'll be taking JoJo in that fight.
And a spot of tea.
I'm going to beat
Beck Rawlings going up against the blender, Heather Jo Clark. Beck Rawlings, every time I see her fight, man, her defense seems like it's an afterthought. She just goes in there and fucking just throws.
Oh, yeah.
No defense.
She's going to do the Stockton slap.
And she's been training with the Diaz brothers, training the Gil Melendez. I'll definitely be taking her over the blender in this fight. I think that Vitamax has good hands and good in the scramble. I just don't think she's really that great anywhere else.
Gracie Jim 209. What, bitch?
Felice Herrig making the main event of the prelims. I will be taking her over Lisa Ellis. Lisa Ellis is a 10-year veteran who's decent on the ground, pretty well-rounded. I just think Felice's Muay Thai and clinch will be winning her this fight.
If the real Felice Herrig shows up this time.
We don't know.
If Felice Herrig wins, I would be so happy.
Jessica Penne going up against Randa Marcos. Jessica Penne was a former Invicta atomweight champion. Again, moving up to 115 to make this show. We saw she had very good wrestling, very good striking, very technical. She had a pretty good fight against Carla Esparza, excuse me. But Randa, man, she impressed me on the show. She's very aggressive. She's got really good trips, really good takedowns on the ground. She did fairly well.
Let's just watch that neck this time.
She's a little bit bigger for the division. It's a tough fight for me to fight. I think Penne could win the decision, or I'll be rooting for Randa.
I'm going for Randa. I got Randa in this fight big time.
Then we have two guys actually going to be fighting on this card.
What does that say about them?
You got
You fight with girls.
Actually, you got three guy fights on this card. You got
Oh, I thought you meant only 3 guys.
No,
Wait a second.
No. 3 fights featuring man. We got Joe Proctor going up against Yancy Medeiros. Joe's been doing pretty decent in the division. He's got good combinations, heavy-handed. He is a sprawling brawler though at his core, and I just think Yancy Medeiros is way fast. He is a high-volume, very violent, aggressive fighter. He also has been training with the Diaz brothers. He has a really, really good takedown defense. I'll be taking him in this fight.
I agree with you on your next 3 picks.
All right, there you go.
You're not going to get any argument out of me.
KJ Noons, former Elite XC champion, going up against Darren Cruikshank. Cruikshank has been doing pretty good in the UFC. 6-3 in the UFC, 16-5 overall. KJ Noons just has not looked the same since coming from Elite XC or Strikeforce for that matter.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Cruikshank coming off the Ultimate Fighter Live, one of the worst seasons ever. But he is a Division III wrestler, does have a background in Taekwondo, which he uses to throw these like weird kicks. He throws a lot of kicks that are like at weird angles and with circles in them, and it's just some weird stuff, man. It's not something you normally see in the UFC.
His legs are like a gyroscope, man. They go everywhere.
He's crazy.
Yeah, he does. He'll do some throws out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You
don't expect any of it. And his angles are crazy, but I'll definitely be taking Cruikshank in this fight. Co-main event: Jeremy Little Heathen Stevens going against Charles Dubronx Oliveira. I just like saying that. Dubronx did miss weight by half a pound. This is the second time he's done so.
Uh-oh. Someone's getting fired.
At featherweight. He definitely will have to get his weight under control, otherwise they may make him move to another weight class. Dubronx, very aggressive. Very good in the clinch, very good on the outside, uses kicks and punches, throws elbows and knees, really. He's very fast. Good on the ground, always looks for the submission. Whereas you got Jeremy Stevens, man, he is a heavy-handed wrestler. Heavy-handed wrestler, loves that uppercut. I just think he can catch Dubronx. As fast as Dubronx is, Dubronx seems to, when he gets overly aggressive and tries to go for the takedown, I think he can get caught by Jeremy Stevens.
I think you will get caught by Jeremy Stevens.
Yeah, I can take Jeremy Stevens in this fight.
I'm going with Dubronx.
I love Dubronx.
Yep.
I was surprised you picked Jeremy Stevens.
I know. Like I said, I'm going to start saying this a lot because I believe in it. Heart goes with Dubronx. head goes and money goes with Jeremy Stevens.
But where do your feet hands go?
Feet hands, Dubronx.
My feet hands go in my shoe.
And to crown your first ever women's strawweight champion, Carla Esparza, the former Invicta strawweight champion, going up against Rose Namajunas. Pat Barry's fiance. How about that?
Yeah, you got.
Is she called Fat Baby?
I wonder.
We should have asked.
Damn it! We missed our chance. Although we might have another interview with her next week.
Do we?
We might.
Okay.
Yeah, and as bubbly as she was, I was glad that you didn't ask about the Duke Rufus thing because I just felt that could have went.
We thought about it, but there was other things to talk about. Other things to talk about.
I want to ask if she calls him Fat Baby. I want to ask if she has a Fat Baby T-shirt that she sleeps in.
That'd be pretty awesome. Carla Esparza was the number 1 seed. Really, really good wrestler. A very heavy top game, and we saw that when she fought Tisha Torres. She basically wrestled Tisha Torres to death because her stand-up wasn't as good, in my opinion, as Tisha Torres. So I think that's where I think she can do the same thing against Rose. If she can wrestle her and get her to the mat and just constantly grind it out, she will win this fight. If she tries to stand with Rose, I fear for her. Rose's stand-up is very, very good. Her Muay Thai is good. She's learned a lot of things from Pat Barry, like how not to lose, get overzealous. But the kicks that she throws are definitely very Pat Barry-esque.
Right. She
has really good angles. Her submissions surprised me the most over this season. She's done really good with the submissions. They're saying she's the next Ronda Rousey of this division.
Yeah, we'll see how she stacks up against the former Invicta champ.
Yep.
With 11 fights experience versus her 3.
3, yeah.
You know,
I'll agree. But she did, again, technically she has 3 more wins on the show.
And 3 subs in the house against some, some
Top
decent
level
competition.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I mean, that does say a lot. But Carla Esparza being a champ and having so much more experience than her, I mean, she also has 3 more wins.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean? So it'll be interesting. I think I have to go with Carla on that one.
You're going to say
honestly.
Carla?
I think I have to. Before we jump into the UFC on Fox 13, of course, other big news that came out this week that we didn't get to, CM Punk signing with the UFC.
Yeah, that happened at UFC 181. They said that CM Punk decided to, we talked about he's going out of wrestling, and now he's going to sign with the UFC, sign a multi-fight deal. He is guaranteed pay-per-view.
Everyone's
freaking the fuck out.
Well, it's hard. Okay, I get it. I don't get it because it's weird. For one, it's a big dick slap in the face to Ben Askren.
Ben Askren doesn't want to be in the UFC. He says he does, but does he really? Does he really?
Yes, he does.
Is he here to make everyone take a nap? I'd pay money to see CM Punk fight. I will not pay money to see Ben Askren fight.
Oh, that's this just in, World Series of Fighting just signed Goldust.
Oh, God. Terrible.
I just want to fill it in.
Oh, God. I would pay to watch that, though, actually.
They say, actually, that CM Punk, even though he has not been given a belt by Hannah Gracie, he does compete at a blue level belt level.
But exactly, he's a white belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with some Kempo experience. He's never had a fight in his life. Ben Askren is undefeated. He's an Olympic level wrestler. You can say that he's boring, but do you want people are going to go see CM Punk fight one time?
And the money's there, and people will pay, I guarantee you, more money to see CM Punk fight one time than see Ben Askren fight 10 times in the UFC.
And again, that goes back to the WWE book we were talking about.
Okay, well that's fine then. Is that what we want then?
That's not what we want. It's what the UFC
Dana White
wants
said
from
that they're going to give
buys.
him somebody on a similar level, a 0-0 fighter, an 0-1 fighter, a 1-0 fighter, a 0-2, somewhere around there. They're not going to give him.
Get the Green Ranger for one.
They're not going to give him like Bisbee.
Make it a spectacle.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's what it is now.
Hey, on Twitter, there's
Jose Canseco wants to fight him too.
I was going to say
he actually has an MMA fight. Jose Canseco has an MMA fight.
My thing is,
the Green Ranger is 4-0.
People are
Ben Askren is 10-0.
People are freaking out about all these freak fights, but everyone was all happy about it when it happened in Pride. And now everyone's like, "Fucking UFC can't do this," but I want to watch my Pride freak fight.
No,
but how many people did Pride tell you? How many people did Pride keep from fighting? Pride, if you wanted to fight, you could come to Pride.
Yeah, but still, like I said, everyone was like complaining about it. But they're the same people that said, "Oh, I like the freak fights in Pride."
I get it.
How many professional wrestlers fought in Pride and actually did well? A lot. They were just Japanese wrestlers you've never fucking heard of.
Sean O'Haire got knocked out by Butterbean.
How many professional fighters have gone to WWE and done well?
Not many.
Okay.
Not many at all. I don't think any. Zero.
I disagree. Because if we're just going to start
Brock
throwing
Lesnar. That's been the only one.
Okay.
Technically, he came the other way first.
Then we could throw in Hasselhoff because he'd probably get some buys. Let's watch him fight.
Does he train?
He trains.
He
UFC,
runs on the
bro.
beach.
He runs on the beach.
Yeah,
He carries that orange thing.
He runs on the
flat
beach
out, CM
every day.
Punk, they're talking about that he is a blue belt. He doesn't have a blue belt. They're saying he is a blue belt.
Then he is a white belt.
Okay.
I don't have a black belt, so I'm not a black belt.
Hey, but
Tanner says he would give him a blue belt if he wanted to go through the belt
Then
system.
give it to him.
He probably will. They have not said who he's going to train with, other than he said he will train with Henner. They have not said. He said he's going to fight at probably 185, unless he can get down to 170, which he thinks he can, but he'd rather fight at 185.
Aside from Amir Sadallah, who has the UFC ever signed with no fight
He's going to
experience?
have a Corey Hill.
Corey Hill had fight experience when he went on the Ultimate Fighter.
Nope.
He was 0-0 when he went on the Ultimate Fighter.
He lied to everybody on the show. He even said that on the show.
Oh, that's right. Well, that's different though. Oh, but that was different.
Oh, that's totally different.
what happened was
is my argument just got shut down.
No, because you got to admit that's a different scenario. If he's going to lie and they think that he has fight experience,
No.
they don't know any better.
The UFC knew. Everybody in the house didn't know.
Okay, well, still, man, it's not the same thing. They're doing this for money, so why don't we just throw David Hasselhoff in there? Why don't we just go ahead and throw Al Bundy in there? He's a black belt in
If he wanted to, I bet you they would.
Yeah, well, why not? Why don't we just do that? Why don't we just throw a bunch of people
Ed
in there?
O'Neill will fight soon.
Maybe he will. You know,
I don't think it's that big a deal.
He should fight Seagal.
Again, he's not going to be.
Against
Seagal
Fat
fight. You
You
Seagal.
think he's going to be top billing? Is that
At a
what you're
catch
afraid
weight
of?
of 285.
Do you think what?
You think he's going to be top billing? Is that what you're afraid of?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I don't care if he's top billing. I just think it's a little insensitive. And
Were you okay
disrespectful
with
to the
Herschel
sport.
Walker fighting in Strikeforce?
Yeah,
But you don't care?
Yeah.
But it was that wasn't the UFC.
somebody
It was on
wanted
a
to-
pay-per-view.
That's the problem. The UFC
was
is
a pay-per-view.
supposed to be the top fighting.
I think the
organization.
biggest
it's supposed
thing
to be like the NFL. You don't have fucking people just randomly coming off the street to play in the NFL.
No, you do. You have Sean Gannon.
Kurt Warner was
Sean Gannon, who had one fight in the MMA fight, won that he lost, had a fight with Kimbo on the internet that he won in a gym, and the UFC signed him for a 2-fight contract because of the money that it brought in.
Okay, I still think it's silly.
And he was a nobody, other than he was a YouTube star. You're saying that signing CM Punk to a 1-fight, 2-fight deal is not...
It's not a 2-fight deal. It's like a 4 or 5 fight
multi
deal.
means more than one. It could be only 2 fights.
I thought I read it was 5. I thought I read 4 or 5.
No, they said multi. That's all they've said.
I think we're going to get 1 fight out of him. He's going to be done. I don't think he's going to last any longer than that.
And he even says himself, he's like, I'm just here to prove everybody wrong. He's like, if I get my ass kicked, I get my ass kicked. I walk away.
Prove everybody wrong about what?
That they're saying that he shouldn't be there.
Nobody would have said that if you weren't there to begin with. How much fucking sense does that make? It doesn't make any sense at all. It makes 0 sense. I'm going to go join this thing that I know is never going to join before to prove everybody wrong.
No, he's been wanting to actually talk about it for a long time.
That's ridiculous. That's the most ridiculous argument I've ever heard. I'm going to prove everybody wrong that was never saying anything before I did this to prove them wrong.
Like I said, I don't think it's as big a deal as everybody's making it out to be.
When you say it like that, I'm behind you.
Whatever. Moving on to the UFC on Fox 13. We would love to hear your opinions if you feel like messaging us. 'Cause I'm getting both sides.
Is this UFC on Fox 13 or is this UFC Phoenix?
On Fox 13.
Phoenix.
It's happening in Phoenix, but it's on Fox.
But it's UFC
and it's
on
the
Fox
13th
13.
one they've done.
Because I don't know. You try to look up Fox on 13, you get some weird channel.
Not the channel 13.
I know, you get somewhere
Number 13.
Cabo San Lucas or something. I don't know.
No, it's CBS.
Boca Raton.
Anthony Burchak going up against Ian Whistle. This is all going down on Fight Pass. Burchak, the only real note I have here, just to put those out here, he's the former MFC champ. He was the guy who was supposed to fight Soto before that got dismantled when Soto got a title shot.
Right, okay.
You got Henry Cejudo making his final UFC, or finally his UFC debut. Henry Cejudo is the former Olympic gold medalist in wrestling. He's going up against Dustin Kimura. And then you have Dave...
Is he exciting?
Who, Cejudo?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
Because, Ben Askren's 10-0, and he's also Olympic champ.
He's not an Olympic gold medalist.
I thought we moved on.
He's not an Olympic gold medalist. Are you telling me you're a Ben Askren fan now? You're getting a Ben Askren shirt for fucking Christmas, and you better wear it.
I'll use it for a jizz rag.
See, that's what you think of him, and yet you're not okay with him being in the UFC.
No, he's
I'm
telling
so
you.
upset he's not in the UFC.
Yeah, but
I want to jizz all over his t-shirt.
Hey, but I'll back him up. He's so upset that he's backing somebody he don't like.
That's a good point, actually. That's how silly I think
That's how
it is.
upset you are.
That's how silly I think it is. They sign... See, I don't even know how much money they're going to pay that guy. It's going to be a ridiculous amount, too.
Millions.
Yeah.
David Mitchell going up against Garrett Whitley. Again, this is all going down on
Like he's instantly in the top
Fight
10
Pass.
getting that Reebok money. Instantly.
lower 15 Reebok money.
He's going to get WWE Bach money.
Yeah. Joe Ellenberger starts off your your Fox Sports 1 card. Joe Ellenberger going up against Brian Barberina. Derek Brunson going up against Ed Herman. Jamie Varner going up against Drew Dober.
You picked Jamie Varner to fight?
Yeah, I know.
No, we already determined it. Was it maybe 2 months ago?
Yeah.
You started to swing
I have
over
a
the corner.
little respect for him. I don't like him. I think he's still a douchebag, but
His fighting style
his
definitely
fighting
improved.
styles definitely improved. I'll give it to them.
But if CM Punk was signed before him, he would defend it.
Joe Riggs going up against Ben Saunders, in which I think is Ben Saunders is going to murder Joe Riggs. Just go for that leg and hand. Go for that leg and hand.
What year is it?
Joanna, and the name I can't pronounce, but I saw you fight in Sacramento. I'm going for you against Claudia Gavidia, which they're saying this could be the number one contendership match at the strawweight level.
Oh, really?
Jedrzejczyk.
I'm going for Riggs, by the way.
Really?
I'm going to go for Riggs.
Really?
I'm going to go for 2006.
That makes sense, though. You're a Ben Askren fan.
Yeah,
so.
hopefully we get some video.
Sean Moraga going up against Willie Gates, closing out your Fox Sports 1 card.
That's some bullshit.
Forever. You will be a Ben Askren fan.
They need to sign the Green Ranger.
That's Brillo-headed fucking Ambien motherfucker.
I don't even care. I don't care. I'm not saying I'll root for him, but I think that he should have been signed.
No, you are rooting for him.
No, I'm not rooting
You're
for
rooting
him.
for him to get in the UFC.
No,
Before
he's
CM Punk.
using him as
He's an example.
as an example.
He's not in the UFC before.
The Green Ranger is 4-0, man. Sign his ass.
Gabriel Manbear Pig Gonzaga
Sure,
going up
he's
against
42, but
Matt
so what?
Meathead Metrione.
And you can't make a pick here?
I can't make a pick. Again, heart says Manbear Pig. Head says I think Metrione will take him out.
You think so?
I think so. I really do.
I think I got to go with that.
I got to go with Manbear Pig, but Metrione could. He could take it.
He
He
could.
take it.
How often does Gabriel Gonzaga get knocked out, though?
Not often.
Yeah,
I think there's going to be a submission in this one.
Then I think
Then that's
Gonzaga's-
Manbear Pig.
Yeah?
I think
Yeah.
Gonzaga's going to submit Mitrione.
Yeah.
All right.
Even though that's going to be one tough submission to get, but
Yeah.
I think that's what's going to happen. And this take the kids out of the room for this fight. Not
Alice-
only is somebody getting fired after this fight's done, but somebody could die.
Alistair Overeem going up against Stefan Struve.
Oh my God, he's gonna hit him with an uppercut so hard,
Alistair Overeem still should be one of the number one feared strikers in MMA.
and it's gonna
hands down.
It's gonna disconnect his aortic valve.
However,
He's gonna bleed out
his
internally.
ability to take damage has definitely declined considerably. Overeem now, when he gets hit, he's just like, that doesn't hurt. I can still, ow, what do you do? I'm unconscious. But he can still dish it out just as fast as he used to, just as hard as he used to. And Stefan Struve, again, we talk about this every time he fights, does not use his fucking reach. You're 6'11". Why are you not punching guys and kicking guys from the outside
And he
like
doesn't use his kickboxing
like
enough
Semi
either.
Schelt used to, like, and just toes in the face the entire time? Like,
He should be right high kicking people out of the cage.
And
Yeah.
we still don't know if he's going to make it out of the tunnel.
yeah.
I'm telling
right?
you, if he does, he's gonna.
Because last time, right, he freaked himself out and they
He
had
has
to call
no
the fight.
defensive
He
wrestling
passed
known to
out.
man.
Yeah.
He's dangerous off his back, but I think Overeem's going to win this fight.
he can get the best chance he has right here is getting his patented triangle on Alistair Overeem.
Yes.
but I really think
jump up and grab it.
Yeah, once that Overeem gets an uppercut in there, dude,
It's not
Struve
looking
is
good.
going to sleep, and one of them's getting their walking papers. Period.
For sure.
Yeah.
Rafael Dos Anjos going up against Nate Diaz. In Nate Diaz's comeback fight to the UFC, he's had a year layoff due to contract negotiation issues. I did like Nate is recently talking about, he's like, don't tell me I am not a needle mover when you're making me the co-main event on a fucking Fox card.
Well, all right.
Okay, what happened
They
with him
told
not
him,
making...
we're not going to give him more money. We're not going to give him a number one contender. We're not going to give because he's not a needle mover. You're making him the co-main event.
What happened with him missing media workout?
He didn't want to go.
But, I mean, this is the same shit his brother got in trouble for, right?
I don't want to do it.
It's ridiculous, man. It's part of your contract. It's part of the deal.
I don't know that this really makes him a needle mover.
Making him the co-main event?
Making him a co-main event on a free card
On
and
Fox.
and he's the co-main event.
Yeah, but
He's not the
still,
main
on
event.
Fox.
No, it's a good one for him.
I'm saying that's a needle mover spice. You could have put fucking anybody else in there. But, you know what I mean? Why isn't Gonzaga the co-main event?
The Diaz name.
Why
was
isn't
brought-
Overeem the main co-main event?
Because Overeem losing.
Yeah.
No, what I'm saying is, if he really is a needle mover, if he sold tickets, he'd be selling tickets on pay-per-view. But instead, he's a name to give to Fox.
But again, it's his first fight back, so they're going to make him give. Oh, you're going to have to take a co-main event fight. We're not going to give you the pay-per-view because we're making our point. Even though our point is that you're also kind of a needle mover. We're going to put you as a co-main.
Well, you're a name to give to Fox,
Right.
Yeah.
to the
People
general
watch
fan.
people. Well, because people think it's Nick.
I just hope he sees... I hope he sees it as the opportunity that it is.
Yep.
That if he comes in and decisively wins, then yeah. He is who he says he is.
Then you have some leverage. Yeah. I can see
Yeah.
that.
If not, then you weren't who we thought you were.
Then you know where your
Nate,
place is.
high volume puncher, high volume striker, great submissions. Obviously, has lots of pressure. Does not do well though against kicks. We've seen this time and time again. And Rafael Dos Anjos has some fucking heavy kicks.
And plus, Diaz likes to fight off his back, which is terrible.
And I think Rafael Dos Anjos, first guy ever to stop Benson Henderson with strikes. His striking has just jumped leaps and bounds from when he started in the UFC. He's now 11-5 in the UFC, 22-7 overall in his career. And I just think, as a wrestler, offensively and defensively, he does really, really well. I think he's definitely going to be taking this fight. I'm going to be rooting for Nate all the way. I always do, but I just think Dos Anjos will take him out with
Heart
kicks.
go with Nate.
Yep, heart goes with Nate.
I don't know, man.
Money
I think-
goes with Mr. Two Hands.
Granted, Rafael Two Hands.
Rafael, 2 years.
We've seen Nate Diaz's boxing improved vastly before he went out on his
Yep.
sabbatical.
Yep.
So I don't want to sell him short on that, and I'll still go for Nate on this one.
All right. And then we have Junior Dos Santos going up against Stipe Miocic.
Who is not a foreigner.
No, he's from Cleveland.
You see that name on paper, man. What do you think?
Croatian.
I love that when he says, yeah, Shale comes up to me, hey, can you sign this? He's like, yeah, man, I'll do that for you.
We got to talk to Stipe Miocic, whatever the hell his name is, earlier this week, so you can go check that one out as well. Great interview, great guy. Once we got him opened up about video games, he was a lot of fun to talk to.
Oh, yeah, firefighter, paramedic, deeply devoted boyfriend.
Yeah, super. Yeah. How'd your kids, how'd your wife, man? Because this guy is firefighter, paramedic, and part-time fighter. Hell, I'd date him.
He is a blue-collar brawler. He's got really good hands, Division I wrestling. Good pace, likes to circle, does well with circling, has good cardio. However, you're going up against Junior Dos Santos, who's probably the best boxer at heavyweight we've seen in a long time and currently. One of the most dangerous uppercuts in the MMA, taking people out a lot with that. likes to move forward and pressure a lot. He does seem to get a little overwhelmed, though, when somebody starts punching him directly. Like, he just starts backing up. I don't know why. Like, he's all about the in-and-out movement as a boxer. But if you get him against the cage, we saw this with Mark Hunt, and we saw this with Cain Velasquez. You get him against the cage, he freaks out and starts putting his hands down because he thinks you're going for a takedown, and then he gets hit really hard.
His concentration.
And he loses his concentration. So if Stipe can do that, he can win this fight. However, I just think Junior Dos Santos is going to be a couple steps ahead of him and end up taking this fight.
Oh, not yeah. Dos Santos has this all the way. That's where my money bet would go anyway. That's where my heart goes, too.
Your heart goes there? My heart still goes with Stipe because we are now friends on Xbox Live.
I was wondering if you were going to add him.
Fuck yeah, I'm going to add it.
It's awesome.
I'm going to start adding as many UFC. I'm going to every fighter that I know as a gamer. I'm going to be like, so what's your gamer tag?
What's your handle?
What's your gamer
He
tag?
said he'll be on there Sunday.
Yep. Win or lose, he'll be playing Call of Duty.
It's either going to be therapeutic or it's going to be celebratory. We'll see. It's tomorrow night tonight. Make sure you check out the Ultimate Fighter 20 season finale. It's already going on right now, so turn on your TVs. And also, make sure you check out UFC on Fox 13 going down tomorrow night, which we just talked about. Big thanks for listening. Thanks to Americana MMA. Go to AmericanaMMA.org, put in the code SDMMA for a discount on your order on any kind of fighter apparel. And also go to thememorytag.com. Check out these new greeting cards that are cool. You can attach a video to them and stuff like that. They're
Not lame.
They're not lame.
And you can pick them up at 7-Eleven.
You can. Anything other than a memory tag greeting card is just lame. I almost said memory tard. That works.
Yeah.
So anyway, thanks for listening. Tell your friends. Get us on Spreaker, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. And, of course, iTunes, our website, SplitDecisionMMA.com. You can get us on Facebook, Split Decision MMA Podcast. On Twitter and Instagram, SD_MMA. And until next time, it is Bueller and Dodge from the Ruloff Family Inc. Studios saying have a good night. We'll see you at the fights.